Hi, welcome to the You Do You Babe podcast. I'm so excited you stopped by. My name is Cathy Michaels and I'll be hosting the show. I was wondering, have you ever had something happen in your life that left you thinking, now what am I going to do? Well, I did. And not only was I thinking, what am I going to do? It went deeper and had me thinking, who am I really? That's when I decided to start this self-love adventure. I turned inward, working to become a better, healthier, and more confident version of myself, and I've never felt better. I guess the saying's true, everything happens for a reason. So I would love for you to join me as I continue my journey where I'll discuss the things I've learned, experiences I've had, mistakes I've made, and there were quite a few, but more importantly, the breakthroughs I've discovered. We are what we experience, and everyone's experience and perception is different. So please share what's going on in your life too, because after all, we need each other, and together we're better. All right, babes, enjoy the next episode, and we'll talk soon. Hey, guys. Welcome to the first episode of You Do You Babe podcast. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe that this is actually happening. It's like a dream come true, a dream that I didn't even know I had. So welcome. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have no other words to describe it. Looking forward to sharing my journey with everybody. Basically, this podcast is about me being on this adventure of self-love, this self-love adventure. And let me tell you how I got here. Let me tell you a little story. So basically, I'm just a girl sitting in front of this camera showing the world how she learned to love herself. Doesn't that sound familiar? It's from it's from that movie Notting Hill, where Julia Roberts says to Hugh Grant in the bookstore, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her. So I am learning that I need to love myself desperately, desperately love myself. So I just want to first say that I've never done a podcast before. I really don't know what I'm doing. So bear with me. And hopefully as the episodes go on, it just gets better and better. Kind of like a fine wine, better and better with age. So yeah, and this is my temporary setup as I'm waiting for the other room that I'm using as my podcast room, for all of that to get set up. So eventually you'll see the scenery change. So that'll be fun. But I just, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So last year was an epic year for my family. My firstborn turned 21, so we had a big celebration, and now we can legally drink together. And then my daughter turned 16, and we had about 200 of her closest family and friends at a fabulous party out east at a catering center called Giorgio's. It was such a beautiful night and day for her. She looked amazing. And I was pretty excited that we were able to pull that off. That it was like a mini wedding. It was pretty crazy, actually. I think I need my head examined for spending that kind of money. But regardless, it was worth it. And it was a fabulous night. Then another milestone was my 25th wedding anniversary. Except I never made it to my 25th wedding anniversary. And instead, I filed for a divorce. So that's what triggered this podcast. When my ex came home, he told me he wasn't happy and he didn't want to be in this marriage anymore. I basically, I didn't know what to say. I was so hurt. And I just basically told him, well, usually people find happiness within. And if you can't make yourself happy, how is anybody going to make you happy? And I've been with this guy for 31 years. Okay. He was my high school sweetheart. I started dating him at 15. He was my only real relationship. We got married at 21. I was 21. He was 24. And, we built this beautiful life and this beautiful family. And, he wasn't into it after 25 years. So that's what triggered this whole podcast, because I realized that throughout the years, I lost myself. I became pretty much a shell of a person. I have no idea who I am. And no idea what I'm doing. I was very codependent on my relationship, on my marriage, which is to be expected, I would imagine, when you're with somebody for that long. Um, but I don't know how to do life by myself, and I've never done it by myself. I went from being in my family home to being married, and now to being single. So when this all happened, originally I still kind of feel the same way for the most part, but I was scared. I felt alone. I felt not worthy of love. I felt hurt. Hurt was the biggest thing I felt. I trusted this man with every fiber of my being, and I was just pushed to the side. It didn't matter. My feelings didn't matter. Nothing mattered. And it hurt. It hurt because, when you love somebody, you love them through the good and the bad, and you work together and you get through it. But I guess not everybody thinks like that. you know, I just, took these wedding vows, to have and to hold till death do us apart, in sickness and in health, good times and in bad, like I took those vows seriously. And, people get divorced all the time. For me, it really rocked my world. So I never in a million years ever thought that this was going to happen. I just thought we were going to grow old together, have our peaks and valleys, ups and downs, and just, ride this roller coaster of life together. And, he was my person, and it was me and him against the world. But obviously, he didn't feel the same way. Then I cried, and I was so confused. I started therapy, and, we did try to reconcile, but in the very beginning, but it wasn't working. He had another person that he wanted to be with, and ultimately that's where his thoughts were all the time. So the one time we went to therapy, he just couldn't do it. So whatever, I was done. It was such a tug of war. It just, after a while, you just got to stop fighting because, you gotta fight for yourself, and if somebody doesn't want to fight for you, then you gotta realize, what are you doing? So that's what I did. I realized, what am I doing? And then I realized that, gosh, I never fought for myself. I never did things for myself, and I never made myself a priority. So if I didn't treat myself properly, how the hell do I expect anybody to treat me properly? And that's what I'm learning. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because if you're anything like me, you don't know what the hell self-love is, or self-care. Like, self-care. My nails get done, I go do waxing, I get my hair done, exercise. That's self-care. But it's really, there's so much more to it. There's so much more to it that I had no idea. We didn't discuss self-care when I was younger. My mom, God rest her soul, she died 15 years ago, but she was a cross between Elizabeth Taylor, like she reminded me she looked like Elizabeth Taylor. I felt anyway, like her eyebrows and everything. And her attitude was like Joan Crawford, right? So I watched my mom growing up, and we didn't talk about things like this. We didn't talk about sex. We didn't talk about self-care. Did you do your homework? Let me teach you how to make chicken cutlets, how to make a pot roast. That's what we discussed, how to vacuum, how to keep a house clean. We didn't discuss self-care. Now, one thing my mother did do was she always looked fabulous. She always had the best of the best, and she treated herself to nice things. And, self-care is not always about things, okay? But that's how my mom showed herself self-care and self-love. So I really didn't have, besides, that, I didn't do these things, okay? I didn't do these things. And honestly, when you're young and you're, first starting out in marriage and you have a baby, you don't you put yourself last, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't do that. You should always remember to take time for yourself. Something I never did. Again, it was my fault. I neglected myself. Um, but as you know, when this all started, I did therapy, and again, I did not put myself first. I just concentrated on how could he do this? How could he do this to the kids? Why would he do this? Why aren't I worth fighting for? You know, all of these questions I had about him. And again, not thinking of myself at all. So I spent a good amount of time, a good amount of time worrying and wondering what he was thinking and all of that. During that time, you know, my birthday passed, the anniversary passed. It's funny, the anniversary passed, and I was like fit to be tied. I actually went on my first date on my anniversary because I said, somebody's taking me out to dinner on my anniversary. Then his birthday passed. Then the holidays came. And the holidays, that was a huge trigger for me. I had a really hard time with the holidays. Now, before that, I would go out with my friends. I would go to concerts. I would go to clubs. We would go dancing. I go to bars. I was having a great time. I went out on dates. I was having a great time. And I made sure he knew it. And again, very childish, not something I would normally do. But I was pissed. I was angry and I was hurt. And I wanted him to see that I was better off without him. Now, I had no idea what I was. I was lost. But the holidays came, and I realized that, you know, I really need to kick therapy into high gear. I was an emotional roller coaster. I was trying to make the holidays as normal as possible, but they weren't. They weren't. And it's not like, you know, because he was missing. It was just my emotions. You know, it was the first holidays that we didn't celebrate together. And it's just hard. It's just hard. You know, there's a new normal now. And it's just, you know, all these years of it being one way, it had to be another way. And it's hard. And even though my kids are 16 and 21, it doesn't matter. It still hurts, you know, and, you know, everybody hurts in their own way. And we tried to make it normal. But I did realize that, you know, I really need to, you know, work hard on my therapy. So I kicked my therapy into high gear with my therapist, and you know, I started researching on, you know, what to do. How do you love yourself? Like how do people go through divorce? I know there's stages of emotions that you feel when you're going through this, but how do you make yourself feel better? I just didn't know how. And I would research it. I went on podcasts. I went on YouTube. I went on social media. I went to experts. I called experts. I called friends. You know, I went everywhere. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling like anybody could really relate to me, you know, while I was researching. You know, a lot of people would say you got to put in the work, which was a phrase that really pissed me off because I didn't understand what the hell they were talking about. Put in the work. What the fuck work are you talking about? I get it now, but then I was just like, is there a roadmap that I can follow? What I need to do to make myself feel better? I just want a roadmap. I just want a guide showing me what to do, and I could check it off, and I know that I did it, and you know, ultimately get to where I need to be. But there's no such thing. There's no such roadmap. You just got to get on this adventure and hop on at wherever you are. So I know that when he first left, I started with the physical aspect of self-care, not even thinking that it was self-care. I was basically just looking for something to do to occupy my time. So my son took me to his gym and he became my trainer and showed me what I needed to do. Once school started for him, he's in college. So once college started, I had to do it on my own. Now, although I loved the gym that he sent me to, I did not like working out by myself. So I went and found another gym to go to that had a private trainer, and the trainer worked with me, and um, it was somebody to talk to, very therapeutic. And he helped me with all of the weights, and I had ultimately ended up losing about 45 pounds. We call this the divorce diet. I really don't recommend it. I don't get me wrong. I love being 45 pounds lighter and, in a single digit clothing size, but probably not the best way to lose weight. Very, very quick, and my hormones are all out of whack. So many other things came along with it that I'm not thrilled about, and that made it even more stressful. But whatever, we'll get into that. But anyway, so I started exercising, and those days that I went to the gym made me feel really good. My headspace was great, and that's what started it all. I looked up things. I saw young girls in their 20s doing YouTube videos about self-care and all these wonderful things, but I felt like it was like instructional, and I just wanted to hear. I didn't want expert opinions. I just wanted to hear the hard truth. I wanted the raw emotions, of learning about yourself, learning who you are. I just was so lost. I had no idea who I was, and I didn't know. I was looking, I was searching, and I couldn't find anything. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. Maybe there are some things out there, but I couldn't find anything that I could relate to. And that's when I decided, I should probably make my own podcast or YouTube channel, and share my adventure with people on what I'm doing. And I'm no expert by any means, but I will be honest, and I will tell you how I'm doing things and what I'm doing. And it may not be the right way, but I'm doing it, and I'm gonna fuck up, and I'm gonna fall off the horse, but I'm gonna get back on that horse. And I just thought that if I was looking for some real talk like this, like a real amateur person, nobody famous, that has all these funds to like get the best help ever, you know, I love listening to Oprah, but she's got tons of money and everybody at her disposal. Like I can't, it doesn't work for me the same way. But I just thought that if if I'm looking for this, there's somebody else like me out there looking for this. Now, my divorce triggered this, but that's not, it just triggered me into really realizing that this happened for me and not to me. And it makes me smile because I'm young. I'm young. I'm 46, and I still got plenty of time left to really turn things around and become the healthiest, best, most confident version of myself. And I certainly wasn't going to lay in bed crying about this. Like, that's just not who I am. I honestly thought I was stronger than what I'm realizing. But I think that I just was becoming a shell of a person with just a hard outer shell. And that's not who I am. I'm realizing that I'm definitely softer, and I have a huge heart, and I want to share that with people. And I want everybody to know it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to say the hard things, the hard truth. And it's okay to sometimes sound like an idiot because you're coming from a good place. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to encourage. Like I said, I didn't know this when I was younger, and I got married so young that I never really learned anything about myself, and I became a mother, a wife, and a mother. I was always a daughter and a sister and an aunt, but I don't know who I am. I don't, and I'm trying to figure that out. Who is this woman? Who is Cathy? And that's why I'm doing this. I'm learning who I am. I'm excited about this adventure. And I'm finding out I'm a pretty cool person. And I love me, I do. I love me. I do have some fears and I'm scared, but I'm going to get through it. I am going to get through it. And I just want to encourage other people who are feeling the way I'm feeling. We don't have to be going through the same situation at all, but you could be feeling this way. And I want to encourage you to take time for yourself and hop on this journey and figure it out. Figure out who you are and what you want out of life and how you want to be and how you want people to perceive you. And I'm excited for that because I don't speak so eloquently, but I have a lot of good things to say, and I'm a pretty smart person. So I think it's great that we share this. And, I would love it for anybody to, make any comments. And if you want to join me on the podcast, reach out. I'd be happy to invite you on and we'll talk. But yeah, I'm going through this self-love, self-care journey. I'm going to call it an adventure because it's kind of exciting. Some days it's hard. Some days I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, like some days, the other day I had a friend of mine at work. She gave me a journal. And of course I just started crying. Like it was so thoughtful of her and so nice. And I shouldn't have cried, but I just did. So some days you're just in those moods where you just cry, and we need a good cry. So it's okay to cry. But, it's just an emotional roller coaster, and you just got to be, give yourself grace, and you just got to, power through it. And you'll see just in a few weeks, you'll see the amazing transformation that's beginning. And it's exciting to watch. So that's why I'm doing this, okay? I'm hoping that I can help and encourage someone else out there who's feeling the same way. Again, I'm no expert. I'm not saying what I'm doing is, I'm not saying how I do it is right, the right way to do it. And I'm definitely going to fuck up, but I'm doing it. So kudos. And kudos to whoever's out there doing it too, okay? Putting in that work, all right? Now, I call this You Do You, Babe, because in the beginning, I spoke to a lot of people. I love talking to people. Obviously, I'm doing a podcast. I like to talk. Although I do find it a little difficult to do this monologue, but it's okay. So anyway, I like to talk to people. I like to get their opinions. I like to ponder about what they're telling me and, think about how I'm doing things and maybe their way is more appropriate or is better or would work. Maybe the outcome would be different if I listen to somebody. And sometimes I'll be in a conversation and I'll totally agree and be like, that's how I'm going to do it. That's what I'm going to do. And it could be something very silly. And then when the time comes, I don't do it that way. And then, you speak to the person and they're like, wait, I thought, you decided you were going to do it this way. And then I was like, yeah, but I decided to do it another way. And then whatever, I don't know if they get, feelings get hurt or whatever, or not at all. I don't know. It all depends how the conversation goes. But I realized is that you have to put your head down on that pillow each night and be okay with the decisions that you made for that day. And you're the only one, who can decide that for yourself. I mean, until people walk a mile in your shoes, they don't know what you're going through. And I don't wish my situation on anybody. However, I just, sometimes even though I might have agreed with somebody and thought that that was a really great suggestion and I should do it that way, I still do it my way. I sound like Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. But anyway, I do it my way, and you got to do what's best for you. And that's how I came up with You Do You, Babe, because what's good for me may not be good for you, and what's good for you may not be good for me. But you're putting your best foot forward and you're doing it, right? Like Nike, they say, just do it. Just do it. Do you, okay? As long as you're not doing anything bad. I mean, you're going to make a mistake. You're going to trip, and that's okay. I learn the best when I make mistakes. I mean, seriously, I won't do it. I won't do it again. I mean, sometimes I torture myself and do something a few times, and I'm like, when am I going to learn? But either way, you just got to do it the way you feel is best for you, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, then there's no reason. There's no reason, including yourself. Don't do things that are going to hurt yourself. But we still do that too. We torture ourselves and make mistakes, but that's okay. But anyway, that's why I call it You Do You, Babe, because you got to do what works for you. You got to do what's best for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to take care of you. You got to make yourself a priority and be your number one fan. All right? So you do you. All right? You do it the way you feel is best for you. And I'm just going to drive that home. So that's how I came up with this, and I really hope everybody enjoys the content. I'll be doing. I was hoping to, release an episode weekly. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet, but I would like to release every episode on Tuesdays. So maybe it'll be weekly, maybe it'll be every other week. We'll see how that goes. But I will have my friends on. I will have experts on to talk about certain things. I do want to have once a month little therapy sessions with my girlfriends. They're quite funny, and we'll just have, real conversation, unedited conversation. So be prepared. And then the other thing that I'm doing is little self experiences for myself. So obviously the past 31 years I've neglected myself, and I've decided that I need to get out of my shell, okay? And I need to be cool with myself. So I decided to do different experiences each month. And I will be sharing those experiences with you. And these are things the old Cathy would never do. And the old Cathy was cool. She was nice. But I like this new Cathy better, for sure. And doing, once a month, doing special experiences. And I cannot wait to share that all with you guys. So yeah, those will be other episodes. So hopefully, like I said, you guys all enjoy the content, you learn something, and if you want to share any experiences that you guys had, I'd love to hear it. If you want to come on, shoot me a message on anywhere, and I'll invite you on, because I do want to hear what everybody has to say. I mean, I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I don't want to skip something. I'm so afraid that I'm going to miss something. And, I do say to my therapist, because I did have a breakthrough recently about why I am the way I am. And I said, geez, I'm like the most put together dysfunctional person I know. And I just said, I'm so scared that I'm going to find something else, like this is enough. But I don't want to miss anything. I do find myself wishing the years away, and when this is all over. Not that this adventure ever ends. I don't think this is I don't think this will ever end. I always have to concentrate, making myself a priority. But I do look forward to when I can be in a healthy relationship with someone special, because they are going to get the best version of me ever. And it's exciting, it gives me hope. And I just have so much love to give. So I'm looking forward to that. And I can't wait to share all of that with everybody. So I hope you enjoy this journey, and welcoming you into my life, and, trying to find out who I am. It's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Do you guys remember that? Or am I dating myself? But that's me. Where in the world is Cathy Michaels? Or where's Cathy? Where's Waldo? Where's Cathy? Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be great. All right, babes. I hope everybody has a fantastic week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.